Please welcome to the stage Miss Myranda Harris.
It really messed me up seeing my mother in Bellevue. Yeah, that Bellevue, New York. I was 8 years old and my sister was 10. And my great-grandmother, after so many visits, stopped taking us because of the toll that it was taking on us. I remember at that time thinking, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be like her. Before my mother went in, she was pretty bad, but when she got out, she was a lot worse. When she got out, she just refused any kind of mental health, anything, treatment, medication, therapy of any kind. By the time I was 15, I was with my mother full time because my great-grandmother was then ill, and I was with my mother then for several years. And I was a pretty smart kid. Knowledge was pretty much my outlet. Knowledge was tangible, limitless. I could always get to knowledge. It would never put me down, call me out of my name. And by the time I was 15, my mother was not very supportive at all of my education. And at this time, I was doing a lot more weed, getting into drinking. And so my education really was starting to fall back. And so I didn't go to prom or anything like that. So at 15, I got pregnant. At 16, I had my daughter, my beautiful daughter, who I have, Champagne is her name. And after I had her at 16, I got into a life of prostitution. A year later, at 17, I started shooting dope, heroin. Actually, I had a trick that got me hooked on heroin, thinking that I would stay with him. That's just not how it came together. I just had a really fucked up habit and had to continue to support my family. I was a really shitty mother. I was a fucking mess. And drugs came first, money came first, and came first. And by the time I was 19, I was diagnosed with HIV and hepatitis C. And when I found out, I was just very numb. I didn't even really have any time to process that. I didn't even think that the disease was gonna kill me. I just thought I would just die from the life that I was in. And I just continued to spiral in that shit that I was in for the next 8 years. I moved here to Portland when I was 27. And I wanted to change by the time I came here. I kind of didn't know how. I just knew I needed to really do something different. I met a doctor. She told me I needed to take some medications. I started taking meds. I was trying to take medications while still getting loaded. That didn't work, of course. And so I tried then to get clean. That started my many journeys in recovery, but that also awakened mental health issues for myself. She suggested then an HIV support group for women called Women of Wisdom, a WOW group. I remember going to this group, and I remember I went. I was loaded when I went, and I remember going in, and these women were Like I could hear them laughing and enjoying themselves. And I remember thinking, what the fuck is so funny? Why are they like laughing? They just seem to be enjoying themselves. But I remember going in and they really embraced me. They accepted me. They had full lives. Hell, they had lives. And I wanted that. I met a woman named Chanda. She really blessed my life. I can honestly say, had I not met her, I wouldn't be a part of that group today. By the time I was 34, I was diagnosed with bipolar II disorder and PTSD. And I was very happy to get that diagnosis. And that may seem kind of crazy, but it pinned me down. It was something that made me say, wow, that's me. It took me a long time to ask for help because I thought that if I asked for help, that I would wind up like my mother. Because we didn't talk about mental health in my family at all. And so many symptoms kept popping up for me. I had so many manic symptoms of just being very productive and burning out or burning projects to the ground. I would go on sexual binges that didn't have anything to do with old behaviors. I had unfinished projects in my home. I was up for days because I had all these fucking great ideas. And I wasn't talking to anybody because I was afraid. But I knew that if I didn't talk to anyone, I would probably wind up like my mother anyway. So it was great to have an answer. Yes. And so from that point, I had a lot of trial and error with medications. At this point, I was struggling with alcoholism because in 2010, I did let go of the hard drugs. By the time I was 37, I went to jail for an assault constituting domestic violence. I was in a relationship with another alcoholic, so aside from these diagnoses, I was a fucking raging codependent. But it saved my life. I was on fire for recovery. I got out of jail, I'm in treatment. I'm building my life up. I got an apartment. I'm advocating for women, for children. I'm doing all these things. I'm with the health department. And I'm enjoying my life. I'm building on the outside, but I'm not looking on anything on the inside. I'm not working on anything in here. And last year, right before going to DC, with Multnomah County, I wanted to drink. And I didn't tell anybody shit. When everybody said, how are you doing? I said, I'm fine. And everything looked good on the outside, so why wouldn't they fucking believe it? I was even at the time taking meetings into Hooper Detox. I'm doing all this external stuff that looked good, looked really good. And when I got back, I drank. And I wasn't just an alcoholic. I was a bad drunk to the point of the shakes and everything. So when I got back and I drank, it was bad. It was bad. And I picked up right where I left off. And my daughter came into my house and she saw the bottle and she told me, Mom, Blake, which is my grandson, has never seen me drunk and he never will. She picked up the bottle and she walked out, which told me that I would never see my grandson. Anyway, I came clean with my PO because I was still on probation. I got consequences for that. Where did I take my ass? To Hooper Detox because I couldn't cover my face and my ass at the same time. I did what I needed to do to save my life. I had to pick up another 24-hour coin. I told my sponsor I'm willing to work the steps and go through all those growing pains. So I did what I needed to do. And so the quantity of clean time then isn't anything like the quality of clean time I have now. And so my sponsor, her name is Nicole, is one of the mentors in my life. I still have my apartment, which is by my mother. I live 3 blocks from her. Mentally, she's not okay. Physically, she's not doing well, but it's a blessing to be in her life and be able to be there for her. She gets to see me clean. My daughter, she's 23. And our relationship is restored, and that has taken years. It's taken work. I'm so honored and I'm so privileged that she's in the audience tonight. And it's the first time that she's heard my story. And thank you to all of you guys that's heard it too.